Hello everyone, guitarist Hristo Vitchev here, and welcome to episode 3 of 251 ways to voice a 251. We're going to continue in episode 3 with harmonizing the fifth of our 2 chord. In this case, this will be the note A, which is the fifth of our D minor harmony. This is one of my favorite ways to harmonize that. This happens to be a D minor 6 or D minor 13 voicing, and I spell it like this: F, B, C, and A. Respectfully, that's going to be the flat 3, the 6th or 13th, the flat 7, and the 5th of our D minor chord. The G7 I would continue with, I would voice lead to, is going to be this. Now this G7 is spelled as an A flat, B, F, and G. Respectfully, this happens to be the flat 9, the 3rd, the flat 7th, and the root of our G7 chord. This is a G7 flat 9. Then I'm going to continue with this voicing. Now this happens to be an A flat minor major 7th chord, which also functions as a G7 outer. In our G7 harmony, we have the note A flat, which is the flat 9. Then I have the note B, which is the 3rd. Then I have the note G, which is the root, and I finish with the note B flat or A sharp, which is the sharp 9 of the G. So this is a G7 flat 9 sharp 9. So we're coming from a G7 flat 9 to a G7 flat 9 and sharp 9. And we're going to finish with this C major 7. This is going to be the 1 chord. This is spelled G, C, D, and B. Now, respectfully, in the harmony, this is the 5th, the root, the 9th, and the 7th. So this is the C major 9. So if I play all 3 chords in a row, we're going to hear this: D minor 6, G7 flat 9, G7 flat 9 sharp 9, and C major 9. If I play it in time, we're going to hear this. Here's version number 2. This is a very easy way to play 251s in fast tempos. It's a very kind of modo, quinto type sound, and I'm going to show you what I mean by this. I'm going to start with this D minor. It still harmonizes the 5th of our D minor chord, which is the note A, but this time I'm spelling it as a G followed by an A, so it's a 2nd interval. Then I go up a 4th to the D, and then up a 5th. The last interval is a 5th up to the A again. You hear a lot of Pat Metheny influenced sounds have these chords. That kind of sound. It's a very cool sound for fast tempos. But anyways, this is going to be my D minor. And again, in the D minor chord, this happens to be the 11th, the note G, 11th or 4th, the 5th, the note A, the root, the note D, and one more time the 5th on top. When I go to G7, I would simply move this entire voicing a half step higher. As easy as that. Now, as a G7 chord, this is going to contain now the note A flat, the note B flat, the note E flat or D sharp, and the note B flat or A sharp. So now this starts to act as a G7 outer. This is the flat 9 of G, the sharp 9 of G, the sharp 5 or flat 13, and the sharp 9 again. So we have D minor, G7, again with the sharp 9 and the flat 13. And in this particular case, I'm going to resolve to one more G7, which is a very cool sound to contrast the sharp 9 sound. This is spelled F, C sharp, another F, and A flat. So as a G7 harmony, this is going to be the flat 7th, the sharp 11 or flat 5 of G, the flat 7 again, and a flat 9. It's like the classic sharp 11 flat 9 sound. So we came from this G, outer, and we're going to move the initial voicing half step higher, and that's going to become a C major, believe it or not. Now this voicing is going to be spelled A, B, E, and B again. So in the C major 7 harmony, this would be the 6th or 13th, the 7th, the 3rd, and the 7th again. So this is my C major sound. So if I play all chords in a row, here's my D minor sonority, here's my G7 outer, another version, and C major. If I play it in some kind of a time or a groove, here's our third and last version for this episode of the 251 ways to play a 251. I'm still going to harmonize the note A, which is the 5th of our second chord, our 2 chord, D minor 7. This time I'm going to require a slightly bit of a stretch here, but it's one of my very favorite voicings to play as a minor chord, and you can see this voicing throughout some of the chord melody studies or chord or guitar studies I'm posting on the channel, where I harmonize some standards and so on. But this one I really like to use all the time. Now the way this is spelled, this has C followed by an F followed by an E followed by an A. It's a very colorful voicing, mainly because the 3rd string has a note which is higher in pitch than the 2nd string. So when you roll your chord, you hear a very nice melody descending. It's a very lively chord. Now in this case, if we go to the chord, the tones we selected, C is the flat 7 of D, F is the flat 3, E is the 9th, and A is the 5th. So this is a D minor 9. When I go to a G7, the only note I'm going to lower is the C that I'm playing with my 3rd finger now, is going to drop to a B, and that's going to get you a G9. Now this voicing is going to be spelled B, F, E, A. Respectfully in the G harmony, G7 harmony, this would be the 3rd, the flat 7, the 13th or 6th, and the 9th. So here's my D minor, G7. Now once I get to this G7, I would have to alter the G7, and I'm going to contrast it with this voicing. So now in this particular case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to retain the B, then I'm going to go to a D, then F, and then B flat or A sharp. So this becomes the classic G7 sharp 9 sound. You're going to have B as a 3rd, D as a 5th, F as a flat 7, B flat or A sharp as the sharp 9. So now I came from this sound to contrast kind of a regular extended G7 with an outer G7. And to resolve to the C major, I'm simply gonna do this. This is one of my all-time favorite too for a major chord. Essentially, this looks like a G triad and C on the bass. That's how it is. So it's a G over C, which spells a very nice G major add 9. So now I have C, D, G and B, and in the C major harmony this becomes the root, the 9th, the 5th, and the 7th. So now the entire 251 in this position became this. In summary, here are the 3 new versions that we learn as to how to comp a 251 progression in the key of C in episode number 3. We started with this voicing for D minor. Here's G7, another G7, and C major. Then we continued with this more of a modo quinto approach. D minor, G7, another G7, and C major. And then we continued with this very interesting way to play the D minor chord, which resolved to a G7 13 with a 9th, then a G7 sharp 9, and a C major add 9. So if I play all of them connected, here's how this would sound. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in episode number 4.